Inline XBRL. This was a transition 3 years ago, but now through August, we have everybody filing both 34 Act filings and 33 Act filings when financial statements are present in a 33 Act filing. So Inline XBRL has become more pervasive. What are the advantages switching to Inline?
So this is where I personally get very excited, and I'm a little bit reticent because I wish I would have had this as an audit partner. The ability to look at the disclosures in Inline in a contextual view, like here's how they're actually presented, but then to be able to pull upon these very powerful analytical models and concepts and overlay them on top of the report. That's what I mean by augmented reality. So just let me run through a couple of capabilities that are now at people's fingertips through the Inline viewer. The first one is just the idea of searching. So most people use the edit find. They're looking for words, like say stock compensation. Those words may or may not exist in a report, but the topic does. And that's because of the reference link that's tied to the codification. So literally you can find all of the stock compensation topical disclosures by using the Inline viewer, whereas those words may not exist. So the ability to identify the disclosures as they're aligned with the codification, that's very powerful. And so that enables another topic like a compliance idea. This is like a disclosure checklist on steroids. That used to, in my day, that was a manual treasure hunt to identify the required disclosures. Well, today that's a mouse click concept where you can identify, hey, what's in the report, but more importantly for me is what's not in the report that should be. A third item would be transparency, the ability to identify and access disclosures in the context. So this would be something as simple as a dynamic table of contents. People always have a table of contents they actually put in the document. In Inline, because of the block text tags, that's there. You simply look at the left-hand side, there's a whole thing on sections, boom, it's right there. A fourth one would be risk profiling. So this is where I can bring a risk model to the forefront, like show me all of the disclosures that meet a liquidity risk or any other type of risk profile. Just you lay that on top and then you begin to go through those disclosures that meet that risk profile. Another topic would be the supply chain. So because there's a disclosure requirement for material suppliers and customers, we can pull that out and we can create what amounts to as a material supply chain. Then we can analyze that upstream and downstream for risk, liquidity, and otherwise. That's a very powerful thing when you start to piece that together to be able to understand what's going on upstream from a company and does that align with their own disclosures. The next one would be benchmarking. Now, imagine being able to click on any number in the report and up pops right on top of the report, a time series chart. For the company, here's this number for the last 8 years. And then you can begin to add to that by saying, well, how does that compare with, pick some companies, pick their peers or other best practice companies. So you can do that both for the numeric values with the time series chart, but you can also do that with the redlining topic that I mentioned earlier. Another one would be quality. This is the cockroaches idea, Mike. You can identify common quality errors very quickly with the filters. And there's many other capabilities, but those are the kind that really get me fired up in terms of what we'll be able to find things. Now, I guess I just want to close on this question, Mike, with something that's very obvious to me. This is a supply chain standardization effort, just like the barcode in the grocery store. The process and control enhancements are identical for both the producers and the consumers. So I would suggest that for any of the producers, registrants who've yet to consider these types of capabilities I just mentioned, I think they should just think about what they might have at their fingertips but not be taken advantage of. I remember maybe a few years ago, there was a FEI article that was titled XBRL, What Are the Benefits? And that was an interview of a CFO of a public company that outlined very much similar to what I just outlined, the process of control enhancements that they were realizing through the use of Inline. So I'll close on that, Mike, just to give the registrants something to think about with respect to that article.